Welcome to A Pleasant Solution, Embracing an Organized Life. I'm your host, certified life coach, professional organizer, and home life expert, Amelia Pleasant Kennedy. And I help folks permanently eliminate clutter in their homes and lives. On this podcast, we'll go beyond the basics of home organization to talk about why a clutter-free mindset is essential to an aligned and sustainable lifestyle. If you're someone with a to-do list, if you're managing a household, and if you're caring for others, this podcast is for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 44, Sustainability and Timeless Design with SortJoy. Stefani was working as a professional organizer and Alexa as an interior designer when they decided to join forces to create better organization products. With her organization pieces, SortJoy brings simplicity and calm to even the most used spaces. Their felt material elevates and unifies. SortJoy products are sustainably made and built to last a lifetime, avoiding trends and focusing on timelessness and function. Learn more about SortJoy at sortjoy.com or on Instagram at SortJoy. So I am so thrilled to welcome Stefani and Alexa to the podcast today, co-founders of SortJoy. And I just want to share that we met through the larger professional organizing community where SortJoy is a generous sponsor of many of our professional organizing development, professional development events. And we currently both are also sponsoring the Refresh campaign by Jennifer Dubois, our colleague that's transforming a space for a local family in California. So I just want to introduce them with that sense of generosity that they bring to our community and to this space. So welcome to you both.
Thank you so much for having us. We're very excited to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having us.
So I love to just start all of my conversations with taking a step back to childhood, because everyone has a different way that organization has shown up in their lives. So Stefani, if you can start us off, I'd love to know what organization looked like for you as a child.
Absolutely. As a kid, I liked order and structure. So I was a fairly organized kid. One example of that is my parents had a jar of coins where they collected excess coins. And then once it was full, they would take it to the bank to switch in for money. Coins are money, I know that, but switch in for dollars. And they would allow me for fun to organize all the coins and roll them and take it in. And I really enjoyed that. Like that was a fun activity for me. So I think that gives you a little flavor of what kind of organized kid I was.
Yeah. The sorting, the categorizing. And then if you guys even know what we're talking about, the little paper rolls that you had to tuck the coins in. Mm-hmm. That's a throwback for me, for sure. I love it.
It really is. It really is.
How about you, Alexa?
Yeah, I don't remember particularly, and this is I think very, it's similar to our whole story. I was not drawn to organization really specifically. It's kind of Stefani who brought me to it, but definitely have always loved design. I remember as a kid exactly what my friends' houses looked like a bunch of details about them. I loved going to my friends' houses because I loved seeing style and all the things they had. And I just was always super aware of design. And I mean, I was, my parents kept things very tidy. And I remember them telling me, like, you need to pick things up and we need to clean out your closet. But I was not like necessarily like super drawn to, I think, like organization on my own.
Which is perhaps why, Alexa, you are the creative director of SortJoy, and Stefani, you are the CEO. So let's look a little bit. Tell us the backstory of SortJoy. I'd love to hear kind of your pathway to launching, and as all businesses do, how it's evolved for you.
Yeah, Stefani was really an organization first. She decided to change careers and become a professional organizer and was working with a team of organizers in San Francisco. I had worked as an interior designer. I had worked in-house for a few restaurant groups and then was working on my own. And we were just friends. And Stefani was always saying there's just not a lot of great products out there for organization. I'm always looking for things that are, more sustainably made and a little more elevated, and would talk about just like I was sourcing things and she was sourcing things for her clients. And that was just always something I was like, you should make product. There's so many, this area needs to be explored. And we never really decided to do it or even dig into what we could possibly do until COVID happened and she was not able to go into client homes. And I had some restaurant projects that just kind of evaporated for the moment. And we kind of set off to do it right away. It was more Stefani's idea. She's like, let's try this. And something I initially thought was that like I was not organized. Like I'm not the kind of person to make an organization product, which I think then I learned as I kind of like dug in, like that's maybe the problem with the space as a whole, is that as an outsider, I saw it as it really, everything was about like perfection. And with our line, that was something that drove us right at the beginning to kind of encourage more balance and like a holistic view of organization.
Yeah, I think that holistic view is really important to us. The idea of balance in one's life, balance in one's home, not shooting for perfection in your space, but shooting for what's good enough for you. I think Alexa and I are both really passionate about getting the most out of our space and finding like a calm and contentment in our spaces. We both see that in like visual appearance of the space, but also how it serves us. And I think that's something that we try really hard to help our customer base also feel in their homes.
I love that, because one of the most powerful questions I encourage my listeners, my clients, women in particular, to ask themselves is, what do I want? And listening to you both, right, it sounds like the brand, the product, as well as this approach to holistic living comes from really searching within and knowing what you want, how it serves other people, how it shows up very realistically and practically within clients' homes. And I think that shows through in the product line, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure. One of the reasons that I was interested in having both of you on is what I see as an outsider who doesn't know you super well, but I think goes unsaid in your journey. I talk a lot about powerful decisions and nurturing deep self-trust. And you both, as you just described, pivoted from previous careers because of this new bright idea that you had. And you're both trusting yourselves to figure it all out. So I'd love for you to share with listeners, whatever comes up for you in terms of that inner voice. Perhaps it's your intuition that was nudging you towards a change, and what you rely on as business innovators to make this brand work.
Absolutely. I think for me, I spent a lot of time before starting SortJoy thinking about what I care a lot about, what I'm good at, and what I enjoy doing. And that was really important in deciding to move forward with SortJoy. I have done a lot of things in my past that have given me skill sets and enjoyment overall, but I hadn't done anything that I truly loved. And I think SortJoy is the embodiment of a lot that I love, and it makes coming to work fun, and it makes even doing the mundane tasks that, you know, everyone has to do at some point in their career enjoyable too, because I know I'm doing that for a greater purpose that I really, really care about. So I think for me, that was the biggest thing in starting SortJoy, was just trusting and picking something that I care about and then figuring out as I go. Because I, didn't know exactly where it would lead me. Originally, I was doing professional organization, and then it really shifted into product with Alexa. And I had no idea that's where I was going to go, but it was in that furtherment of what I care about.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think I was not 100% sure when we started, how this would go. I don't know that you start something and you're like, this is going to work. This is it. But it felt like every day putting one foot in front of the other, things fell into place more and more. And I think when we started, I said to Steph, let's do this for a month or 3 months or something. Let's see if we can create something we like. We never committed before, we were ready, I think. And yeah, I think just having that honest conversations with each other, knowing that this might fail, that we don't know what we're doing, that we are kind of getting into this eyes wide open, we're trying to create something really new. I think something that has had to do with our success and with things falling into place is that Stephanie and I have totally different skill sets and things that we like to do. And that's really lucky, and we get along very well. So I think that is a huge part of what allowed us to be successful and also feel good in every unsure step of this journey, kind of relying on each other for the parts that were uncomfortable for each of us, or, that weren't our strengths.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because, from the outside, we see the brilliant elements of the SortJoy products. But yes, it takes effort and daily decisions and trust whenever you're growing any new adventure. And SortJoy is such an amazing, I love the feel of the products. We'll talk about that again here in a bit, but the essence behind the brand, I think, really shows through as well. And you shared with me that your business growth has involved a little bit of bootstrapping, as you call it, and this kind of idea of staying lean. And I love that on the SortJoy website, you're very transparent about the materials in your products and how you're both anchored in this core value of sustainability. So share with us why this has been your approach and how in turn you both expect that it will create longevity for your brand and products.
I think when it comes down to that core value of sustainability, that was something we decided really early on. We did not want to create products that added more junk to this world. We did not want to create products that were virgin plastics that couldn't be recycled or that added more to landfills. We were very clear on that early on. And I think that drove us in the design of the products. It drove us in developing products that make sense for us and we feel really good about and can stand behind. I think we believe that in and of its own, that we can stand behind these products is going to help us continue to come out with more things that people love and will help us with longevity as a whole. Alexa, what do you think?
Yeah, being a sustainable option we were finding sustainable materials before we were even designing the products. Like that was the driver in the design. What are our options here? Because I just think we didn't want to create if it wasn't going to be that. It was really important to us just personally. So it was how we started. It was like looking at materials and figuring out what like our options are before we ever started like rendering anything. And on the bootstrapping, I think it's something we started out of necessity, like get this off the ground. And then we've just found the beauty in it, like the slow growth. You know, whenever we come out with a new product, it's like we've been working on it for so long and it feels so necessary. And I kind of think that's the right place to be. Before we started making products, we spoke to hundreds of organizers, but through running this company, we speak to them every day and, you know, figuring out what they need, what they want, things we hear over and over again. And just that like slow growth I think has been really important to like the quality of the items we're able to make and design.
I think we're also really big on making products that solve problems for our customers, both professional organizers who we have talked to and learned where the issues are with the products that are out there, and then also with anyone who buys our products for placement in their home. Like we are really trying to solve problems for them. We're like listening to the problems that they have, that, you know, they have a lot of clutter, they can't find their items, they don't have the right structure for the stuff in their space, they're buying the wrong items for their space because there's an overwhelming number of products. When you go look for products, they are buying bins that are clear and don't solve the problem of clutter because they stuff items in their clear bin and it still looks like clutter. So, or visual clutter to be specific. So we were really careful in not putting out any products that don't solve the problems that people are needing solved, because I don't think that's useful. That just adds more clutter to what's available. And we only want to have products that are useful to our customers.
And I can totally see the parallel with coaching. I work with clients for typically 6 months or more, and it is both the slow change and slow growth, as you were speaking to, Alexa, as well as that goal of solving problems. And many of the things that you're probably hearing from clients and customers are conversations that I'm also having in private. So I see that parallel there. So I want to shift to talking about organizing with SortJoy, because that's why folks are listening. They want to hear all about the products. And of course, I have to give the disclaimer that many folks are eager to skip right to the reward of buying beautiful products. Mm-hmm. But Stefani, you know, from the professional organizing perspective, we always encourage you to declutter first so that you're containing and storing things that you want and love and need and use and all of those things. So there are the sculpted bins. There are the flex bins and a new line called the Jamie bins. There are 2 colors and just a couple of sizes, which allows for easy decision making. And then there's this brilliant approach where the lids for the sculpted bins are actually also trays, right? And then some of your items are washable. So tell us all the things.
Absolutely. So thank you for all that you know about our products already. We have been really big on multifunctionality of our products. So everything has multiple ways that you can use it. So our sculpted bin, as you mentioned, the lids can come off and become trays that you can use all over your home. We know that people's needs within their space change over time, or, they may move and have a different structure to their space. So it's really important for us to be able to grow and change with our customers.
Yeah. And on top of the bins, we have our label collection and also our label tags that we pair with this Joyful House on. She makes our pre-made collections of those tags. And we can talk more about this, but having opaque bins, which is really something that's important to us and we think makes our bins functional for a lot of people, a lot of the times will require a label. So we've put a lot of thought into those and want them to be like jewelry for the bins, not to take away. They kind of add.
I think other considerations that we've thought about when creating these bins are the material is sustainable, but it's also extremely durable. Our softer felt is machine washable, as you mentioned. It's super soft, so it will never scrape a shelf when you're pulling a bin off the shelf. It's, our sculpted collection is structured because sometimes you need a structured bin for something like a pantry or for bigger, heavier items. You need the bin to hold the structure. And as Alexa mentioned, they're opaque, which to us is really important because we care a lot about the beauty and the calm that we feel in a space. And having the bins opaque where you can't see through them really helps that for us. And adding labels to an opaque bin also gives you all the needs that you could have over being able to see or know what's inside of a bin.
And with the lid, does it make it stackable in any way?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. All of our sculpted bins with lids can be stacked so that you can use vertical space better. We know a lot of our customers live in homes where, potentially their closets don't have a lot of structure in and of themselves. So being able to create structure just with bins can be really helpful.
Yeah, and we really were committed to creating a line of opaque bins because we think that a lot of the clear bins, although they're good for organizing because you can see inside of them, a lot of times if those items are not easily perfectly organized or kept in order or super categorized, it actually really looks like a lot of visual clutter to have to see into these bins. Even though you can be organized, sometimes things don't appear organized. And I think that was something that I struggled with. And working with Stefani when we started SortJoy, I realized, there's a whole line of bins that we could create that I think could solve this for people. They could be super lightweight and easy to use, that create a monochromatic, very calming space. And as long as you are organized, you look organized. And that can be in as balanced a way as you need, and things don't have to be so perfect anymore. And that was kind of the realization I think that I came to, where I was really excited to create this line with Stefani.
Yeah, I think the two colors make it very simple and streamlined for people to choose and create a uniform look. As well as I love that there's just a few sizes that fit to standard shelves. So it's like you don't have to overthink the planning of a system, the planning of a closet, the planning of a pantry. There's just a few sizes. We're going to find one that fits and we can use it in multiple ways.
Absolutely. We know that decision fatigue is real, and we don't want our customers to have to make a ton of decisions around which bins to choose for their space. We want them to be able to come to us and have, a couple sizes that work for them, and that's it. And they can pick quickly.
Because they've already done all that decision making with the decluttering beforehand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Definitely remember to declutter first. That is very
don't
important.
Put anything in a bin that you don't want to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you would like to share about SortJoy, the bins, the brand?
I think one thing I want to communicate is just that we are here if you have feedback. We love getting feedback. We love talking to customers. We love hearing what sizes we don't have and you think we need to have, or, you know, anything that you think could be helpful for us as we continue to grow this brand. We are growing it through the feedback from everyone around us. And that's really important to us. So please reach out. You can easily get a hold of Alexa or I directly through Instagram or by emailing us. Our email address is on our website, and we are happy to talk.
Yeah, all new products have been suggestions from professional organizers, things we're hearing over and over again. So we really love the feedback.
Which means for customers, they're getting products that have been vetted and tried and tested by those who do this work every day, so that they can kind of trust that what they're buying, as long as they pre-measure their space correctly, will work for their shelving.
We're also happy to help with that. If they send us dimensions, we do that a lot, where we can, you know, help. If you have a shelf this big, what are your options?
Brilliant. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so user friendly. Amazing.
Yeah.
So to conclude, Stephanie, I think we started with you. What's one way, a creative way perhaps, that you employ organization in your personal life now as an adult?
I would love to say that not overdoing it is really important with organizing for me. I'm an 80% is plenty good enough. Get it to good enough, not perfect. And I think especially with organization and the kind of idea that people have around organization is that it needs to be perfect. Things need to be perfectly file folded and look really nice in a bin, in a drawer, however you have them. And I do not agree with that. I think being organized does not necessarily mean it needs to look perfect. And being organized doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be so perfect that like everything's always in its perfect place. I think that means you are wasting time. I think 80% is what you should strive for.
Yeah, to me, it translates oftentimes to overworking when you could be using your time for many, many other things. So functional, yes, but perfect, I don't think any of us will ever get there. And perhaps if you do, give me a call. How about you, Alexa?
I think I also, similar to Steph, I like to do just as much organization as I need, but I need to have like a little bit of a free-flowing schedule. Sometimes I sit down and it's like not happening and I need to go do something and come back. Some mornings I'm up working out, but like if I try to do that for a week straight, like it's not gonna happen. So I have to give myself a little bit of freedom. Obviously, like I need my space to be tidy. Like I cannot have anything on the counter when I am working, or it really like is a distraction to me, but I need to give myself a little bit of freedom in like schedule and workflow. And, you know, if I'm not like feeling the thing in that moment, like go try something else and come back. And I think just like accepting that and not being hard on myself for that is like a huge unlock.
Thank you for sharing that, which is primarily the reason my program and my podcast is called Embracing an Organized Life, right? Like it is always finding what works rather than forcing yourself into some sort of rigid kind of routine or structure. So I love that you know yourself well and are optimizing that way.
Thank you.
So, yeah, of course. So SortJoy is amazing. I encourage listeners to check out the website because there are conversations with you, Stefani, there where you share some of your knowledge. So folks can check out the YouTube kind of conversations where you share your information. And then I just also love that you have the easy to read size guide. So if you're searching for products, they just come up. It tells you very clearly exactly what size things are. You don't have to kind of look in the fine print down below. So kudos to you for a brilliantly designed website. So yeah, tell the folks where they can find physical SortJoy products in stores as well as online.
So we are not in any physical stores right now, but you can find us online at sortjoy.com or Anthropology, the Container Store, Lulu in Georgia, and the list is growing. So yes, search for us online and let us know if you have any questions.
We'll be announcing on social media when the new stores are live, which will be coming soon. And yeah, social media is a really good place I think that's where we talk about really what's going on and what's new and keeping up with if we're doing a photo shoot or we have something coming up. Also in our email newsletter. But yeah, I think Instagram is really just like a quick way to keep up and interact.
Pinterest as well?
Yes.
Yes, we are on Pinterest too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great place.
How fun. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was an absolute pleasure.
It was a pleasure for us too. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode. If you liked this episode and know of just one other person who'd get value from it too, I invite you to share it with them. I'd be more than grateful. I'd love to stay connected with you too. Make sure to follow this podcast, to connect with me on Instagram at @apleasantsolution, and join my community at apleasantsolution.com. Talk to y'all soon, and remember, you're more organized than you think.